What's good, Joe? We are waiting for my man Biv to join me. Usually we be live um, on my Zoom account through my Speak on It webpage. Um, Facebook is acting real funny on my computer right now. I'm with my Zoom, so I'm updating it right now. What's good, bro?
What's good, cuz?
What time is it? Let y'all know that Speak on It. So are we gonna go start talking, diving right into the topics on at 7 o'clock? But like I said, usually we do it through the Zoom account, through our Speak on the page. If you haven't, follow us on our Speak on the page. Make sure you do that. If you haven't, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you do that as well. Like I said, we on Twitter, Spotify, so make sure you go and listen to us on Spotify. And we are on Instagram, so make sure you do that as well. Um, but like I said, we usually do this through our Zoom account and stream it right live through there. Right now, it's acting funny. If anybody know how to do um, this new stream from your Zoom account to Facebook account, I'm gonna play with it a little bit more. But if y'all know exactly how to do it, let me know. I should have it up and running by Wednesday's show, which is jam packed with some special guests I'm excited about. Um, we're talking about the education system and the educators in that system. Um, I don't want to dive right too much into it, but I'm excited about that show as well. Um, um, like I said in the description, it is a football sports talk Monday, and it is jam packed, man. I got some good news. So me and Biff talk about a lot on the show. We got some good news. Um, and we got picks that we did on over the weekend. We had some bold predictions that did, some of them came true. Um, but listen, let's dive right into it. Right off the bat, let's talk about the breaking news that makes me and you happy. Bill O'Brien is no longer with the Texans. Thoughts,
Long
man?
overdue. Long overdue. I would have thought. I didn't think he would get 4 games into this season after the way last season ended. So I'm happy. Um, there's so many questions to be had because of course they're gonna be looking for both a GM and a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So you can start throwing names out there, different people that you think could take the job, but it really depends on whomever they're gonna. Hopefully, they hire the GM first, then the coach, and not vice versa. And hopefully, they do not go through another GM/coach. That just it didn't work. Don't go back down that road again.
The only way I can see it um, working if it's like Bill Belichick who does it, Andy Reid who does it, um, Pete Carroll who is he's not the GM. Just like Andy Reid's really not the GM. They actually have a real GM in New England, in Kansas City, and in Seattle. But they have a lot of say in um, player personnel and how things go on. Where Bill O'Brien was the actual GM and the head coach. I wonder if he fired himself. I don't know how that worked, but but I'm with you. Long overdue. We talked about it a lot. Um, I wonder, like I said, like you said, it was 4 games in. I honestly thought he should have finished out the season because Romeo Cornell takes over now, which I don't know how I feel about that, especially with him being a defensive minded coach. And reports came out that Bill O'Brien this week was going to be more involved with the play calling. So if Bill O'Brien wasn't involved with the play calling already this year, if he wasn't already involved and he just got fired, that means the play the play is still going to be suspect. Like we should have just cleaned house, right? They should just clean house, or let him ride out the whole season. But just stripped his GM title away because we ain't need him to do no more crazy trades. I just had a report that said that they have the highest payroll in football right now. They have the highest payroll in football. So it wasn't that he wasn't trying to make moves. It's just that the moves that he was making were suspect. You know what I mean?
They had the highest payroll in football.
They have the highest payroll in football.
But then again, when you take on, I guess they probably took on David Johnson's contract that he got from the Cardinals. J.J. Watt had to get his money. Deshaun got his money. They took on Brandon Cooks' contract. So yeah, they probably do got a nice little payroll.
Pay Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
paid the linebackers, Marcellus Wiley and Zach Cunningham. They paid the tackle. They got a high payroll and nothing to show for
Nothing to show for it. Yeah, it was time for him to go.
it. Like I heard some names out there, coaching wise, and I'm excited about one of the names that I did hear, Eric Bieniemy, which I think is long overdue. Andy Reid's disciple. I think that he should get a chance. I think that a lot of things that they run in Kansas City, again, we know it's Big Red's offense, but I think Eric Bieniemy is actually putting together the game plan and calling the plays. Um, I think Deshaun Watson would greatly benefit from that offensive mind, and down there in Houston.
I know his name's going to come up, but I doubt Dabo will leave just because of the connection with him and Deshaun. So Dabo's name is going to come up. There'll probably be a few other college football coaches. You know whose name better not come up is Lane
True.
Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's name better not come up. It better not. It better not come up.
Where's Lane at? Tennessee, Ole Miss. He's
He's
Ole
in
Miss.
Ole Miss. He's in Ole Miss now. He's in Ole Miss. But his name better not his name better not come up. But
It
I'm
should.
also interested to see how what decisions they make because with the GM because I think Lewis Reddick is probably ready to get back in somebody's front office.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that he would be a good hire to run the front office in Houston. So
I think I think that's a great name. I think there's a bunch of other names I can't think of them on the top of my head, but I will make sure we'll talk about them probably on Wednesday when I figure it out in our segment a little bit. Um, but I think that I agree with you. They should hire the GM, or maybe hire them at the same time. But I do agree that they should hire the GM first before they hire the coach, um, because that way the GM has a game plan. This is what I'll say. I think they should hire him together because the coach that you bring in should be able to have his stamp on the players that are picked for him. Because if he comes in with a philosophy of a 4-3 or a 3-4 or a Tampa 2, whatever it is that they want to play, defensively, or if he wants to be an air raid offense, or if he wants to be a running team, like that's another thing I think that um, the Texans lack identity. They just lack identity as far as the offensive game standpoint. You don't know if they're a running team or a passing team, or I don't know what their calling card is. I don't know what their staple is. For the longest time, they have been a defensive-minded team, and we haven't seen that show up in the past couple of seasons either. Which is why I don't know why Romeo Cornell is the intern coach, because his calling card is defense, and we haven't seen it in the past couple of seasons. So um, I do think that they should hire them together. That way, they know how to put a game. They know exactly what the vision is and how to implement that vision um, moving forward. So sorry about that.
agreed.
Um, Something else that popped up to me. Just wanted to throw it out there real quick. Doc had his press conference today. I'm super excited about it. For everybody who's talking about the trades and the roster construction, everything like that, I do think the roster construction is a little bit jumbled with Al Horford, Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris, and the big pieces up there. Um, but Doc Rivers said he was excited about it. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to get rid of Ben. He doesn't want to get rid of Joel Embiid, as he shouldn't. Um, but he also talked about um, like how his offenses are always in the top five, right, and how his defenses is always in the top five. So I am super excited about what he is going to do or what he's talking about, and this is resume. But I am excited about to see what he's going to do. I'm excited about to see what he's going to do. Um, there is one name out there in free agency that's going to be coming up as a free agent that he has coached, and we've seen flourish under him, which is Montrezl Harrell. Um, I want to know if we can get him. You know what I mean, that's what I want to know. If the Sixers can get him, they can make some moves to pieces to bring him in, to bring him off the bench. You know what I mean, who will usher in that hard work mentality to a hard work city that we haven't seen. Not saying that we haven't seen hard work from the superstars, but the city of Philadelphia is a blue collar city, and you haven't seen blue collar hard work out of his superstar. So I think that if Doc can bring that, he can bring somebody with him that is going to preach that. I think that'll go a long way to um, ushering in this new hard work era in Philadelphia.
Yeah, but it still got the big two still got to buy in, and more so the one. I don't think that Ben has a lack of work ethic or preparation. More leans towards Joel in that, in as far as looking like they're not always prepared or in shape or anything like that. The question is, what can you get for Al and or Tobias?
Yeah.
Even if you have to package them to get something, it might be for the best. Especially if you're thinking about moving, well, signing Montrez, because Montrez is gonna want some money,
Hmm.
and you've got two big contracts with those two guys that you probably can move and get something for them. And at this point, I don't even really care what I get in return. I just need them off. I just need them off the books, and I need it, and I need them, and I need them out, and I need them out of the mix because it's just not working.
Hmm.
It's just not working. I mean, it might work. It might work under Doc, but you still need more.
Yeah.
Even with them, you still need more. So
Unless, like you said, um, they have to find a way. We need more shooters around. Let's just say that. Like we know that Tobias can shoot, but he's streaky. Unless Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris, um, and whoever else they put in the starting lineup, maybe a Court Moss or whatever, they become like knockdown shooters. Um, the roster does need an overhaul. Um, so I do agree with you that we do need to move um, a lot of pieces. You might have to throw a couple of first rounders in there to get those numbers off your books. But like I said before, I do love Buddy Hield in Philadelphia. If we can get that, that would be awesome. Um, Baseball, right? Talk baseball real quick. We got some baseball that's happening right now. Um, I hate the Marlins. I want to say that. I do hate the Marlins. They they moved on, and they keep saying it that they probably won't win it all because this is what they do. But to have two National League East teams in in the playoffs and my boys not be there is hurtful. So that's why you're gonna hear me say I don't like the Marlins. I don't like the Braves. Um, because they're both in there and we aren't. And I feel like top to bottom, outside of the bullpen, we have a better, we're a more talented team than both of them, in my opinion. Um, we have a more talented roster than the Braves. More talented from 1 to 9, hitting wise. We have a more talented
you have
roster.
more. You have bigger names.
Okay, we have
I
bigger
wouldn't say
names.
more. I wouldn't say more talented.
We have bigger names, which in the public eye means more talented roster. Clearly, we don't got a more talented roster than either one of the teams because they're in the playoffs. But when you roll out these names to the public,
You
they're
better
gonna
win.
say that's
better
talent.
win.
That's talent. We're here to win. And like, but anyway, the Marlins, they moved on. We got the San Diego moved on that we talked about. Right now, the game going on right now that we talked about, the A's and the Astros. And like I said, I picked the A's to win, but if those bats for the Astros show up, I reserve the right to change my mind. And the bats for the Astros showing up. So I know you big on the Astros, you big on the Yankees. I think the Yankees play a little later on the night. Just wanted to throw that out there that these games, the playoffs are still going on in baseball. And Biv's picks are looking good. That's what I wanted to say. His picks are looking good. My picks look trash. But like I said, I reserve the right to change my mind if those bats show up in New York and in Houston. So that was my thing.
Yeah, right now Houston's up 8-5. I told you from this gate I don't believe in the A's. I just don't believe in the A's. It didn't really matter who they were playing. I wasn't gonna pick the A's. I just don't believe in them. But the Astros is looking like they waking up and they're playing good baseball right now. Even though they did not play good baseball for 60 games. All
Nope.
that matters is if you can play good baseball from here on out.
That's
So
all that matters.
that's
And
all that matters.
Washington showed us that last year.
Yep, just get in.
Let's get in, get hot, win it all. And listen, the Yankees showing us that again this year. They ain't played real good baseball. They were up and down all season. Which is why I picked Cleveland to beat them. And they roughed Shane up. They roughed that whole batter, that whole pitching staff up, and here we are again. Which I hate picking against them. Like I said, y'all gonna hear me say it a lot on this podcast. That's my AL team, so I hate picking against them. But I think the Rays are a real good team. But like I said, if the bats wake up in either one of those series, and the same thing I'm gonna say in the National League, if the bats wake up in, it could be either team, right? If the bats wake up with the Braves Dodgers can be a nasty series. Bats wake up in San Diego Dodgers can be a nasty series. So that's what it all boils down to. Is if is whose bats show up on the night in and a night out basis. But I think that the most complete team right now in the playoffs is the Dodgers, with a close second, which are probably, I hate saying it, probably the Braves, which is a close second most complete team, pitching staff, bullpen, and with the bats. I just don't want the Braves to actually win. So.
I feel you. You're a Phillies fan. I wouldn't expect anything less from you.
God, listen, I gotta rock with it. So moving on, right? Basketball segment. Talk about basketball. I don't want to call him James because I don't like that name, but Jimmy Butler. I think we've talked about it a couple times on the show. We didn't know if Jimmy could be the engine to lead somebody to a championship, to lead a championship team. Now I know Miami is in the finals, but to think that he could be the dominant guy, like Kevin Durant, like a LeBron James, the go-to guy to lead his team to a victory, to win a championship. We said it. We didn't know if he had this in him. Did last night change your mind?
No. I still feel like he's a guy that's best suited to be a second guy. I still think he's a second guy. What you said, well, last night was a guy that was just that's just who he is, and it wasn't really anything that the Lakers could do other than fouling, and that didn't even really work either because he was knocking down his free throws. So I still don't think he can carry them. He's still gonna need that help. Um, what's encouraging is that they won that game without Bam and
Gordon.
Dragic. So that's encouraging. But again, that's Jimmy Butler. A 40 point triple double is what they needed last night to win, and he gave it to him. He is that type of player, but a guy that's gonna go out there and average 30 plus and put a team on his back 4 out of 7 games. I still don't think he's that guy, but with the right pieces around him, like they have in Miami, where if they can pretty much cover up his shortcomings when he's not having a good night shooting. Some guys on his team can cover him up, but then again, they are gonna play defense. They are going to play defense. It doesn't matter who's on the floor. Miami's going to play defense. They're going to give defensive effort. And that's what you saw last night. Jimmy just had an incredible night shooting. I think he was like 12 or 16 from the field, something crazy like that.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
12,
he
14.
was awesome. He was awesome last night. You can't take that from him. I still don't think he's a guy that you can count on 4 out of 7 games, and he hasn't shown it in these playoffs. It's been different guys. Bam's had nights where he's gone off. Dragic has carried him. Tyler Hero's carried him. It's a complete team effort. Last night was Jimmy's turn, and they got it from him, and they needed it.
Um. So yes, it did change my mind on could he be this guy? Um, because I think he's going to have to be this guy moving forward. Um, he's going to have to be the guy. He's going to have to be like he's going to have to turn in a Kawhi Leonard type of effort to beat this Lakers team. Um, and I think that's what he's best suited as. He's best suited to do that to because I think defense is what gets him going. He loves defense. He loves that challenge. He still has that chip on his shoulder, where I want to just lock down the best player. Now he played LeBron a lot last night. LeBron did go have a couple of buckets, but he made it tough on LeBron. He turned him over a couple times, and like he scored on who, no matter who was on him. You switch AD on him, score on him. You switch LeBron on him, score on him. It didn't matter who you put on him. He went at him. He went at them. He got buckets early. He got them often. Um, and I think that that's what it's going to take. And I think that the more he does it, the more comfortable he'll be with saying that I can do this. And I think that is who he's going to be moving forward because I think that that's what the team will need from him moving forward because Gordon Dragic I think is out for the series. So even with Bam coming back, I don't think Bam is a guy that's going to give you 30 a night either. Um, Goran Dragic was the guy that was giving you 22 a game. And that productivity is going to have to be made up, and that's going to have to be made up by Jimmy Butler and maybe Bam Adebayo. But Bam coming back from that injury, I think that it's going to be more so a lot more of Jimmy Butler with the ball in his hands and having to score. Because thinking about it, they have 17 from Kelly Olynyk last night. I don't know if they're going to get another 17 from Kelly Olynyk. Maybe another game, but he's not going to average 17 in this game, in these finals. So the common denominator for me, the thing that's most likely to happen is that Jimmy Butler turns into that guy. And doing so, like people putting him on that status now that he is turning into a superstar that can actually lead a team and put the team on his back. And I think that he showed that last night, and I think that that's what he's going to be, and that's what they're going to need moving forward. They want to win the finals.
Yeah, I think he can do what he did. I think he can do that a game or two. But he's gonna need a Tyler Hero big night. He's gonna need a Bam and a Bio big night. He's gonna need a Goran Dragic big night. He's still gonna need big nights from those guys again because he's gonna give everything he has on the defensive end every single night. He's gonna give everything, and then when you're guarding, whether it be LeBron or he might have to guard Rondo, it's a lot. So
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't think that he can be a guy. He's not a consistent jump shooter enough, and he's not a guy that even he's not even a guy that's gonna demand the ball enough, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's nights where Jimmy is like, somebody else has got it going. I'm gonna ride them
Mm-hmm.
versus me because I'm the best player on the team or I'm the guy. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get mine too. Tyler Hero got it going. Tyler, I'm gonna ride you out. Keep going, Tyler. Bam, you got it going. I'm gonna keep riding out. So that's why I don't feel like he's that guy that's gonna just take over games each and every night because he has to. He's the guy that's gonna fill out the game and he's gonna go with the flow of the game and what's best for the team. So that's what I think Jimmy Butler is.
I definitely agree with that. That he does allow the game to come to him. He doesn't force it, but I do think that he should. And I think that when you tick him off, which I think LeBron did tick him off, which we'll talk about a little bit, but I think when you tick him off, that's when you see Jimmy Butler goes into a different mode. And we've seen it when they talked about it in Minnesota when they ticked him off and he went against those two stars with third teamers and was just dominate them. I think that's what we saw last night with the comment that LeBron made, and he said, "Y'all in trouble." LeBron kept saying to Jimmy, "Y'all in trouble," and I think that flipped the switch in Jimmy, which we saw last night. Ticked him off, and he took over a game. And I think that if he can keep that switch on, they can definitely win this finals.
They can't win the finals though. All that said, and AD had a night last night.
I want to talk about it, right? So because I know he had a night, but he has shown that he has shown that he has these games often.
Yeah, quite often.
He had them twice in the Denver series. They won those games, but we have seen that he has these nights, and I think that like Miami last night, like the first two games, AD went bananas on them. You know what I mean? They couldn't stop him. They adjusted to him last night. They sent that double early. They sent it often. They put that zone on them, and they couldn't do anything with it. They made them shoot a lot of threes, and the Lakers came back to reality last night, shooting those threes. I think that is who the Lakers. I think that is the real Lakers. That's who they've been all season. They've been top heavy with LeBron and AD carrying them throughout the regular season. But one of the things that we've always talked about, everybody's talking about, not just us, national media, everybody has talked about it. Their shooting was bottom of the list in the regular season. Now in the postseason, they figured out. I don't know what the heck they figured out. You know what I mean? They stay on something else. But the real Lakers to me are the Lakers that don't have knockdown shooters, which they have been showing. They have been knockdown shooters in this postseason. Last night showed me that maybe the Lakers come back to reality.
Well, again, even though they had a bad night shooting, they were still in the game. They had a lead late while Jimmy is going absolutely nuts. Again, it's still encouraging because there's no Bam, no Goran Dragic. So all of that said, I think again, I said it was gonna be a tough 6 games. It's gonna be a tough 6 games. And I still think it's gonna be a tough 6 games. The only difference is now LeBron is gonna have to take his game to another level, just in case AD continues to have these nights. So I don't know. I don't know if Jimmy can play at that level enough right now. Right now, I think And a year from now, I think he'll learn and he'll be better adjusted to it. But right now, he's still learning. This is still his first finals experience. Same thing with AD. He's still learning because he got himself in foul trouble last night. So LeBron's been here. I think he and Rondo again. He and Rondo are going to be the two guys that's going to make sure that the Lakers finish out this series. But it's just going to be tougher than they thought, and it might go 7 now.
It's going 7, and Jimmy gonna win it in 7. Um, so let's stick with basketball. A lot of people are saying, some of the millennials are saying LeBron is the GOAT already. Me and you have been on record saying that he is not the GOAT. He will probably never ever be the GOAT. I don't think that there's anything he can do to be the GOAT. This is not LeBron hate, what I'm about to say, but I don't have him above Kobe Bryant, in my opinion. I don't have him above Kobe. And if we're throwing bigs in there, a lot of people don't have him above Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as well. And if we're throwing bigs in there, I would be reluctant to put him ahead of Tim Duncan. With that being said, if he does win these finals, so let me ask you this. In that hierarchy, with the players I just named, Tim Duncan, LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, Kareem, where do you place him in those players?
Based on what he's done, career accomplishments, stats, everything, he's right behind Jordan for me. Now, if I'm starting a franchise, Jordan's off the board. There's a few people that I'll probably pick over LeBron before, you know what I mean? But when I'm talking about ranking them as far as accomplishments, stats, everything, LeBron's right behind Jordan, in my opinion. He's probably, I'll give him 3. I say Jordan, Kareem, and then I'll say LeBron.
So that to you, there is still room for him to move up.
No.
So you don't think he can ever pass Kareem?
No.
Okay. Well, that's the question. So the question I was going to ask is, does this finals bump him up? Because for me, he's not ahead of Kobe. Kobe went to 7 finals. He won 5 of them. He's 4th all-time leading scorer. Like Kobe is a monster. He's an animal. And people say what people want about Kobe. Like you can say he had Shaq all those years. However, we can also say that Shaq had Kobe because Shaq fouled out a couple of those games that Kobe had to close. In those tough games that Shaq fouled out. When Shaq was in foul trouble, Kobe closed games out, and he was also averaging 30 a night, just like Shaq. And we see that the 2 that he won without Shaq, that he was that guy. Like he just had again that Mamba mentality. He's always had that in him. Even from a young age, wanted to take the shots. He missed them, but he wanted to take those shots. So he's always been a killer. So for me, Kobe, I don't know if this one championship that LeBron wins actually makes him allows him to pass Kobe. But I think that he's coming up on him in my eye. But I think people forget just how dominant, how good Kobe Bryant was on both ends of the ball. Like he is, I think, a 12-time All NBA first team defender. That's most all time, tied most all time with Gary Payton. Like, and he is like an all-time great scorer. He's a 5-time champion. I don't know if this championship allows him to jump Kobe in my eyes, because to me it's Jordan, then it's Kobe, then it's Kareem. But I don't know if this championship allows him to, if he wins the championship, this allows him to pass Kobe or Kareem.
No, this championship. And I'm not saying that this championship doesn't mean anything, but this championship adds to LeBron's legacy.
Hmm.
I think he at this point. I know a lot of people are arguing back and forth with him and AD. I think last night proved that LeBron's the MVP of the finals over AD. But I just don't think that this one championship run it just gives him four. It
Hmm.
makes him four. It makes him 4 out of 10. The 10 is incredible. He had that streak of 8 in a row. Again, that's incredible. But I'm not rewarding people for second place finishes. You know, I can't do this. This isn't the Olympics. You don't get a medal for finishing second place. So, but the thing with Kobe, the only reason I put him ahead of Kobe, unfortunately, Kobe did play with Shaq. But at the same time, unfortunately, Shaq played with Kobe. They canceled each other out on probably at least 2 or 3 MVPs that they probably could have had between the two of them. But they were teammates, so people either discredited each of them because they played with each other, or their numbers wasn't what someone else's was because they played with each other. So that can go both ways. But I'll take Kobe over LeBron every day, every day.
Same, same here. And that's not LeBron hate. It's just um, I, I I'm on record. I'll say this again. I think LeBron James is the best basketball mind. Like if I'm building a basketball player physically, I'm going to pick. It's going to be LeBron James. He's fast. He's 6'8". He can pass. He can score. He does defend. Um, I just think at times with LeBron is mental, and that's why I would take Kobe over him, and that's why I would take Jordan over him because mentality wise, I would take Tim Duncan's mentality over his. Just
I'll take
mental,
D Wade before I take LeBron.
just mentally, they're just mentally tougher than LeBron, in my opinion. And again, I think LeBron, and like Biff said, I would take D Wade over LeBron. That's my favorite player of all time. Um, but I don't think Dwayne Wade is a better player than LeBron James, in my opinion, either. So I did want to throw that out there. This is no LeBron hate. I'm taking Steph Curry over LeBron James as well.
I'm not.
Um, again,
I'm not there yet.
it's not. It's not that I feel as though that Steph is a better overall player or talent than LeBron James. I think that he makes his teammates, with his impact that he has on his teammates, for to me is a greater impact than LeBron James has on his teammates, and that's just me because I think that you can plug anybody with Steph Curry, no matter who it is, a Jordan, a LeBron, a Shaq, a Kobe, a Kevin Durant, and their games don't have to change. I think that with LeBron James, you can plug a Jordan in, but one of their games has to change. You can plug a Shaq in, but somebody's game has to change because LeBron is a downhill player, and so is Shaq. He's a paint player. So that's why I would take Steph Curry over them. Is because I think that he allows everybody's game to remain the same without sacrificing his game as well.
I feel you.
So now, sticking with the Lakers, right? I heard this report that said that if AD wins this championship, he his trajectory could be the best power forward of all time. He wins the championship, he could be the best power forward of all time. And I was sitting here thinking, when they said it, I was like, Tim Duncan don't got 5 of those things? Like, Tim Duncan don't got 5? Like, to me, it's going to take a lot to unseat Tim Duncan as the best power forward of all time. That's just to me. It's going to take a lot to unseat him as the best power forward of all time. AD got 1 if he wins this one. Tim Duncan should have 6. He should have 6. Like, let's be real. Tim Duncan should have 6 championships. It's gonna take a lot for me.
It's gonna take a lot for me. It's gonna take a lot for AD to surpass a few people.
Me too.
And in my opinion, you know, we, what we have to do is stop this. We have to stop. what is the guy gonna be? What is the guy is now? Let's find out what he is at the end of his career. Right now, prior to this playoff run, Anthony Davis doesn't have much playoff experience, you know. But again, it's one of those things where we're prisoner of the moment. So AD has a lot of work to do, just to, in my opinion, to solidify himself as a top five player in the league.
Mm.
He's a top
I
five
can
talent
that.
without a doubt. He's a top five talent without a doubt.
I agree.
But he needs to consistently prove that he's a top five player in this league before I can even dream of him being the greatest power forward of all time. He's got a lot of work to do, and right now, his inconsistency in the playoffs is not a good look for him. It's not a good look for him at all.
Listen. I 100% agree with what you just said. Like you said, that's a top five talent. We can also say Karl Anthony Towns is a top five talent. But does that mean he's a top five player in the league? Nope. Joel Embiid is a top five talent. Ben Simmons, to me, top five talents. Do they mean they're top five players in the league? Haven't shown it to me. And I'm a Sixers fan. They're top five talents. When we talk about them, we talk about potential, projections. We don't talk about what they do on the court, what they doing like productivity wise. Anthony Davis is in that same boat. Outside of LeBron James in this run, I wouldn't put him as a top. I wouldn't put him over Dame Lillard, in the league. He's, again, top five talent, but I've seen Dame Lillard consistently in the playoffs, put that team in the playoffs, and win and be a killer in those playoffs. One of the things I think that people always misconstrue or what they're going to say when they're talking about making an argument for Anthony Davis is, well, who did he have around him in New Orleans? He's had talented teams in New Orleans. Let's stop that. He's had players with him in New Orleans. He's always had Drew Holiday there with him. Always had Drew Holiday there with him, who people would say is a super underrated two guard in the NBA. He's had Boogie Cousins that he had. I know they had the 1 year. He's had Rondo with him, and they got knocked out in the second round. So he's had players around him. He's had shooters around him. He's had players around him that he just could not get it done in the playoffs.
Yeah, he couldn't have success as the number one guy. Just let's just be honest. He didn't have success as the number one guy, and now he's gone off to be the number two guy, or if you want to say 1B, but that's only because LeBron is 36, you know what I mean, in year 17. So he's got a lot. He's got a lot to prove, and he's got a lot, and he still has plenty of time to do it. But and again, given his talent, if he does what he's supposed to do, he should definitely be in the top five power forwards of all time. And I could definitely see him. Well, I could have definitely seen him supplanting Tim Duncan as the greatest power forward. But now I don't know if he can, if he has the time. Like he's gonna have to do a lot of winning going forward. A lot of winning, and a lot of winning going forward is at least the best or the second best player on his team. Because Tim, even when he didn't win MVPs in two of his five, his presence alone made a difference.
That Kawhi Leonard championship could have easily that Finals MVP could have easily went to Tim Duncan. Easily went to Tim Duncan. He was given the Heat work at the age of 40. He was giving them work. I think it averaged like 15 and 10 in that finals. Like he was grabbing every rebound. He was balling. Kawhi Leonard got it because he stuck LeBron, just like Andre Iguodala. But Tim Duncan could have easily won the Finals MVP in that final because he was out there putting in work for the San Antonio Spurs. But I agree with you. He can't. AD has all the skills to be the best power forward of all time. But like you said, I still think that winning is what allows you to be in that category. Because when you look at Tim Duncan's numbers, they don't jump off the board at you or anything like that. But he wins. That's all he does is win. We talk about Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson, 9 finals. People don't talk about him a lot. Won 5 of those things. His numbers, his scoring numbers don't really jump off the board at you, but he wins.
Yep.
And he had great talent around him, so that really didn't trump like his position in basketball lore as a point guard. A lot of people say he's the best point guard of all time. I think you agree with that as well. But
and let me say this before we move on. I always felt as though LeBron played out of position.
I agree. Me
I
too.
always felt like he was a point guard. He was Magic Johnson, but Michael Jordan is the measuring stick, and because Michael Jordan is the measuring stick, he played off the ball. That's where they want to put everybody that seems to be the next phenom. They want to put him on the wing. They want to put him off the ball. But I felt like LeBron was best suited to be a point guard because of his IQ, because of his vision, because of his ability to pass. I always felt like he was a better point guard, and that's why I think even now, as he's starting to decline physically, he's gonna be an incredible point guard if a team wants to take that risk and let him be their point guard at the age of 39, 40 if they want to. But I think he would still be a solid point guard in this league at that
I agree.
age.
I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna move forward because I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for what I say. Um, if LeBron James would have came in and initially played point guard, he could legit be he would. I'm gonna say this, he would be the GOAT if he played point guard from day one and not played small forward, because there is nobody, no point guard that you would have been able to put on him that he would have not had dominated. He would have made everybody around him way better. He would have got everybody. And people say he does get people easier baskets now. Yeah, to an extent, but he does make people change their game. If he is the point guard, everything really feeds off of him. He's not really looking for his shots. And now you put a different score with him. He would have changed the game. He would have a lot more championships if he played point guard and was more willing to play point guard um, back then. Because now I think that he's embraced it because he's getting a little older. But if he would have embraced like just being the point guard, averaging like Magic Johnson, if LeBron would have averaged like 22 for his career and 15 assists, which he could have easily done, he would have more championships. That's just my opinion. But moving forward, right? Let's talk about this football, man. This is a football Monday. I think we got a game going on right now. Chiefs, Pats, they going on right now. I don't know if we picked that game. Oh yeah, we did. We did pick that game. We picked all the games. It was an interesting Saturday and Sunday. I'm not gonna lie. It was real interesting. One of your bold predictions did come true. I don't know how bold it was, but anyway, one of them did come true, man. And I was so mad when it happened. You said it. Oklahoma and Texas both lose in the same weekend, and it happened. Pissed me off because Texas had the game won. They had it won. But in Texas fashion, which is probably why you said it, what you foreseen it, it happened. And I swear on everything, when it was happening before my eyes, I said, my man Biv, he predicted it happened right before my eyes. They was going in to score a touchdown, and the ball reached the ball out.
For no reason.
For no reason at all.
Nowhere. He was stretching out from the 3. Like, why are you stretching the ball out? You're at the 3.
No reason at all. My man stretched the ball out, got it punched out,
Ball game.
and they lose that game, which is crazy. But starting there, I think Sam Ellinger is going to be a beast. I think he's a beast. I think that game next week, which again we'll probably talk about on Friday, it's going to be this week's football is going to be crazy. I can't wait till Friday. This week's football in general is going to be crazy. But what stood out, like again, like I said, outside of your bold predictions happening, um, what game did you think stood out college wise, this Saturday? I'm gonna say one that stood out to me. We both got it wrong, and you convinced me.
Auburn, Georgia. That was the game that stood out the most to me. Here we were. I know I ain't gonna speak for you. I'm gonna speak for myself. I didn't think. I thought Auburn would carry momentum from last week
Mm-hmm.
against Georgia and play much better on both sides of the football. But they looked terrible, and Georgia looked really good. Now, that cocktail party between Georgia and Florida is gonna really have some huge implications. But no game to me stood out other than that one. What stood out to me was the landscape of college football because here we are in what, week 4, week
Mm-hmm.
5 of whatever, 3,
Four.
4,
Yeah, four. Yeah, well, we're
whatever,
moving on to week 5, but yeah, we're in week 4 now.
and the Big Ten and the Pac-12 haven't played yet, so we
Mm-hmm.
don't know if they're going to have a representative. But it looks like the Pac-12 probably won't.
Big Ten
And
definitely
yet
will.
the Big 12 is pretty much done. They're pretty much done. They're riding hopes on Oklahoma State at this point. That's, they're riding hope on Oklahoma State, and they still haven't played Texas or Oklahoma. They still have a lot to go through. The ACC is wide open. I know Clemson is the heavy favorite. The ACC is wide open, and in my opinion, the SEC is wide open. So it's just the landscape of college football looks really good in my opinion. I don't think there's going to be one of those juggernaut teams that just looks head and shoulders above everybody else. I know Alabama looked incredible against Texas A&M, but they still got a tough schedule to play themselves. So I just think that the landscape of college football looks really good right now, and with the Big Ten and the Pac-12 still yet to come, who knows what's going to happen?
Couple things I agree with you on the landscape of it. I'll touch on that after I talk about what stood out to me. Um, so I don't know. I'm with you. I don't know who the best team in college football is right now. I legit don't know. This last week I said it was Miami, right? Because then Miami was idle. I look at Florida and I'm like, yo, this quarterback is just dominating everybody. I'm like, dang, Florida look like they're the best team in college football right now. I can't say it's Clemson, even though they're the number 1 spot, but Clemson is just smacking. They're not really not beating nobody. They haven't played in any competition yet. Now this week they play Miami, so we'll see what it looks like. Alabama doesn't look like the best team in the SEC to me. It looks like Florida's the best team in the SEC, which is saying a lot because Alabama looks amazing. So it's crazy. Even with Georgia, right? Georgia played, they had a crazy game, but then they came back and they smacked Auburn. Like, I don't know. And that defense looks nasty in Georgia. I'm with you. I do not know who the best team in college
And we still
football
haven't
is.
seen no, we still haven't seen the Big Ten play yet.
All right, we haven't seen Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. We haven't seen them. And again, and I know, um, like you said, Big 12 or the Pac 12 is not going to have a representative. But let's be honest, like, Utah looked super good last year. Oregon, I know Justin Herbert is going, but they still got good defense. They still are projected to have a top 10 player drafted in the pros. They have a monster safety. They got an offensive line that's nasty. Like, I know we talk about Oregon and we don't know, but Oregon can shock some people. We don't know. The crazy thing out there, though, is, like you said, with the ACC, it's Notre Dame is in the ACC, fight for the ACC title this year as well. Like, it legit can go any way. But what I want to say is, I love it, and I think that this is how it should be moving forward.
Yep.
I think that this is how it should be moving forward. That you should play your conference. You should play your conference just like this because it provides so much intrigue. And if you can if you can go undefeated playing your conference,
so be it.
You should deserve a top seed. And I think that, again, it should be a playoff system where it's not people that just a computer that puts them in there, but you should be able to play your conference and then allow that to be your seeding. You know what I mean? Because, again, if the SEC, if Alabama goes undefeated in the SEC, they legit should be the number 1 seed because of the road that they have to go through. If Clemson goes undefeated in the ACC, they should legit be the number 2 seed because of the road they have to go through. Like, I think that is what should determine, because SEC has a lot of ranked teams. The Big Ten has a lot of ranked teams. The ACC has a lot of ranked teams. Those are the teams that should be ranked higher in the playoff seeding if they're able to go undefeated and beat those teams in their conference. I think that is how they should do it moving forward. And I think that it's a beautiful thing to me. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. It was a great Saturday, college football. Great Saturday.
Great, amazing. I don't know if my Heisman pick changed, but man, Trask, whatever my man name is, whatever his name is, boy, look good, man. I didn't believe in Mac Jones, but Mac Jones looked good. And like you said, they got weapons. Maddie, I think that's his name, the other wide receiver that just out of nowhere showed up for Alabama. Yeah, they look good, man. Kyle Pitts looked good for Florida. It was, like you said, it was amazing. It was an awesome Saturday of football. Another thing that stood out to me, Lincoln Riley, the boy wonder, it might be over right now. Like, he's had.
They are who they are. And when you don't have that difference maker at quarterback to cover up those flaws, and let's be honest, Rambo is no CeeDee Lamb.
And that's what I was going to say. They had Hollywood, they had CD, and maybe we're seeing just how good a number 1 wide receiver makes a quarterback look. Because you do see the pop with Rattler. You do see it. You do see the arm talent. You do see all that. But he doesn't have that wide receiver that makes up for the crazy things that he does. The crazy throws that he does. He doesn't have that wide receiver that makes up for it. And we say it all the time, man. This defense is trash. Trash. I don't know. Again, I legit don't know. Outside of Kenneth Murray, I don't know anybody else that a defensive player that came from Alabama. Maybe I forgot the Novell, the DN or the D tackle. He came from Oklahoma, 3rd rounder. But I don't know who the heck. I don't know nobody on this defense.
I don't know anybody.
And we watch college football, man. I don't know who they are.
If they are in the NFL, they didn't jump off the screen in college. Just put it like that. Yeah, and it's hard to not jump off the screen in college when you play in a league that scores so many points. Like, when they make a defensive play, you're gonna recognize it. But nobody from that school jumps off.
Nobody jumps in. Nobody comes to mind. like you said, the Big Ten's popping off, man. I'm excited about that. But I'm real excited about is to talk about these NFL teams, and I want to start right with who I think you picked them. You did pick them. I think I picked you picked the Cowboys. I picked the Browns. If I'm not mistaken, I gotta go back to look at my notes. But I don't know. I know people say it's the defense, right? I know people say the defense. They're gonna talk about the defense a lot. In Big D because Dak is putting up astronomical numbers. But just because you put up astronomical numbers don't mean that you aren't part of the problem. That's what I want to say. I think Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott is just as part of the problem as the defense.
I said it last week. I'm gonna say it this week. His big numbers, I'm not wowed by them. I'm not gonna give you credit for putting out the fire that you helped start. That game changed on back-to-back turnovers.
Yep.
That's when the game changed.
Yeah,
They were up 14-7. We can sit here talk about 41-14 all we want. They were up 14-7. And I think the game was tied 14-14. And then
14.
two turnovers back-to-back, and boom, it's 28-14. And they say, run the ball more with Zeke. You can't run the ball more with Zeke when you constantly down 2, 3, 4 scores in the first half. What am I getting ready to continue to pound the ball for? We got to try to score fast.
Yep.
So, like, you could say the running game is slow. The running game is slow to start. The running game is this. The running game is that. It's hard to get the running game going when you constantly have to play from behind 3, 4 scores early on in the game, especially in the first half. The defense is terrible. You know your defense is terrible. You know that going into the game. But the game plan isn't to control the game by running the football. The game plan isn't to try to at least take away one of the strengths. Like, the back end is terrible. The secondary is terrible. But you've got too many names. You got too many pass rushers.
Yep.
To not get any pressure on the quarterback on top of your secondary being trash. So the defense is terrible, but the offense has to play better too. You know your defense is terrible. You can't turn the ball over. And your two best players on offense are the guys that turn the ball over.
Here's the thing people can talk about, right? They're -7 point turnover differential. So you can say all you want. That tells me that the offense is turning the ball over. Like you said, you can have these astronomical numbers, but you put it there. You turn the ball over, whether it's fumbles or interceptions. You are turning the ball over, or whether it's not us scoring early enough in the first half. That's what it is. We aren't scoring enough, and then we got to come back, so it makes it look like we're putting up these astronomical numbers. There was a couple plays in that Browns Dallas game where he should have had a couple more turnovers.
Easily.
One went off the linebacker's hand twice in the same possession. CeeDee Lamb caught one of them, and the other one fell to the ground. Like, it was a cup. The one he threw the touchdown to Amari Cooper that split the defenders. People say that was amazing. That was an amazing throw. Yeah, it was an amazing throw because it got to Amari Cooper. But if Anderson Sendejo didn't go for the knockout shot and just went for the ball,
he also second guessed himself. He seen the slant coming and he hesitated, and I seen him take another hop step, and then he broke for the ball. If he had just went straight and broke on that route, it would have been a pick six.
I could talk about this thing all night. That had another thing that was overthrown. So yeah, he putting up these astronomical numbers, which is going to say it's going to give him his $40 million a year. But Dak in close games, they had the stat. He's like 1-8. I think he's like 1-9 now. In those close games. As a quarterback in those close games, you live for that moment, and you got to get it done. I don't know if Dallas could. could recover from that loss because, like you said, going into that game, it was their pass defense that was getting shredded. Coming out of that game, their run defense got shredded. So now when teams know that I can run and I can pass on you, like what I'm like, my eyes lighten up every time that I'm coming to play Dallas. The Giants, they're not scared of Dallas. Coming the next week, they ain't scared of Dallas.
They're a botched onside kick recovery from being
0-4.
0-4.
And you said the post. You said it, John. You was like, man, just imagine if Dallas could get a stop. I said, well, just imagine if their opponents could get a stop. Like, if their opponents could get a stop, like you said, they'd be 0-4.
Crazy.
Crazy.
They had who was it? Was it Tom Brady, your boy. Another pick six on yesterday.
Oh yeah, my goodness.
Another pick six, but they won. I think he still threw for like 5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns
or whatever. So, but Justin Herbert was the guy that really stood out from that game. Just because that's what we expected from Tom. So, but Justin
Herbert. You had to
see
another game.
Yeah, I wanted to see a game where the defense was, planning for him, and he's proven that he's ready. He's proven that he's legit.
Here's what's going to be interesting right now. I think we are a month in. We're a month in, and if I had to redo my stuff, Justin Herbert would be my rookie of the year. Justin Herbert over Joe Burrow would be my rookie of the year. His arm is liver. His team is in games against big name teams. Justin Herbert is legit. He legit outdueled Pat Mahomes. He outdueled Pat Mahomes. He threw an interception that hurt them late, and he needed a miracle kick from Butker to beat him, and a miracle pass that only probably Pat Mahomes can make to beat him. But other than that, Pat Mahomes did not look like Pat Mahomes in that game. But Justin Herbert shredded that Chiefs defense. He made one bad pass, and that's what cost him the game. And then Pat Mahomes made an amazing pass that won him the game. Justin Herbert is the real deal, bro. Oh my God, man. We could talk about this game all day. But that pass was Patrick Mahomes-esque. The pass backpedaling off his back foot, and he just threw it up there to Jalen Guyton to put them ahead. That pass was nasty. That was a nasty throw by Justin Herbert.
I legit thought they were gonna win that game, especially after the way they came out. I thought the Chargers were gonna win that game. I was a little upset because I picked the Bucks, but I'm also excited because if the Chargers can avoid those dumb injuries, where would they be right now?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Where would they be right now?
The dumb injuries, right? But they are 2 boneheaded interceptions away from the score being their record being different. Just 2 boneheaded, and again, he's a rookie, so I can't even say they boneheaded. I just think that he was trusting his arm, and they got picked. But Justin Herbert is the real deal, bro. He is the real deal. And like I said, I think right now and this time, a month in, he is my rookie of the year. He's my rookie of the year, a month in. So, another game that stood out to me. You high on them, I'm high on them. The Raiders, Bills. It was tough for me because I was high on both teams, but I had my MVP now. Yeah, I mean, because my real MVP looking like doo-doo right now. He ain't looking like doo-doo, but yeah. That game was a real interesting game for me. Because I wanted to see if Josh Allen could keep it up. And I'm gonna tell you this: I think that game he overtook Russ for the MVP for the month. My opinion, but I think he overtook Russ for the MVP. It's 1 month in, but right now, if I had to pick an MVP, it would be Josh Allen over Russell Wilson right now.
Uh, I still take Russ. Russ, he won. He had a good game. So I still give it to Russ. Although I think Josh has been more impressive consistently across the board. I think Josh has been more impressive. That team yesterday, I watched majority of that game. He makes that team go. They 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 feed off of him offensively and defensively.
Mm-hmm.
They feed off of him. They feed off of his energy. They feed off his leadership. But man, Stephon Diggs is good.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs is good.
Stephon Diggs is good, man. And
Technician, route running, hands.
and he's made both John Brown and Cole Beasley that much better with
Yes,
just his presence. The Bills are legit, and people better start taking them as being legit because once that weather starts to change and it starts getting real cold up in Buffalo, you don't want to go up there. You don't want to go up there and play in that type of weather, and that defense is going to be suited for that type of weather. So
I agree.
Buffalo's going to be real tough.
The defense picked up a little bit yesterday. Um, they got 2 games coming up where we're gonna see how legit Buffalo is. I don't know who the first game is this Sunday. I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't got the schedule pulled up for me, but I know that Thursday night game they play the Chiefs. So we're gonna see. But the game I think I can't remember off the top of my head who I think they got.
They're at the Titans next week.
Okay, so they got the Titan. They're gonna shred the Titan. He going he's gonna shred. He's gonna shred the Titans. And the reason I think they're gonna shred the Titans is because the Titans are built the same way uh um Oakland is. They're built the same way Oakland is. They want to run the ball, pound it, play action, and I think they want to keep everything in front of you, and they're gonna see Josh Allen, man. Only thing that my only knock on Josh Allen is he fights a little bit too much for the play. He got to learn how to just like it's over. Let's go to the next play. The play he got injured on. He was fighting, and he made that amazing play. He made an amazing play to Stephon Diggs, but like I would rather you be healthy, um, and not risk yourself, um, than to make that amazing play. So, but Josh Allen's my MVP right now, man. No, no, and I think, like you said, Russ had a good game, but it wasn't the impressive game that the streak that he was on. He had 360 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, but it wasn't the streak that he was on that has got him to be the MVP, or got his name in the MVP race right now. Let's go to um, your team. I had the bold prediction in there. It didn't happen, but because the only reason I think it didn't happen is because they took their foot off the pedal. Um, but do you think that they got back on track offensively on Sunday?
No,
Me.
no. Um, everybody, it's like everybody wants Lamar to be something other than what he is, and the offense is going to be at its best with Lamar being who he is, which is unfortunately for some a run first offense. It's not going to be Lamar slinging the ball around all over the place. That's not the recipe for success. You got all of these running backs. You got a fullback. You need to go ahead and make sure that you utilize them the correct way and make sure that you keep Lamar a part of the running game. Now, he's shown that he's going to be able to either get out of bounds, slide, get down, and avoid the big hit. So let him loose. But you can't try to turn him into something that he's not. You drafted him to be that guy. Let him be that guy. Our problem is really the defense. Whether it be not being like I thought Dwayne Haskins looked okay yesterday. We couldn't stop a slant to save our lives yesterday. We couldn't. And if it wasn't for the offense scoring points and Ron Rivera having to gamble going on fourth down, that game could have been a little bit closer than it was. I just feel like the offense still hasn't gotten on track. It was the Washington football team. We got to get it together. It's just that simple.
I agree. I love Baltimore. I love Lamar Jackson. Um, I hope it stays that way for another week or two. Yeah, I mean, until after y'all play us. Um, but I agree with you. Like, I think that we get into, and we see it in Philly also, but we get into these our minds that this is how you have to win or this is how you have to play. And they had the stat that said that Lamar Jackson, when losing at half or down by 14, he can't he hasn't won a game coming back, having to come back. But when they're up, they always win. But this is what I want to say. There are ways that you can utilize Lamar Jackson to the best of his ability, that you can still take shots down the field, and you can still open up this offense more. Like, if you just did bootlegs and scrambles, he has a big arm, he is accurate, but it also utilizes his legs as well, right? Because if you do bootlegs, now you give him options. You move the pocket, you give him options to throw the ball downfield, and if it's not there, you got him outside to where he's best at, and now he can run. I just think that they need to get more creative. I think they got real creative last year. They need to get more creative with what they're going to do with him, um, and like you said, and keep utilizing them in the run game, because that is what's going to make that offense go. If he is not utilizing the run game, the offense is going to look how it looks.
Yep.
Defensively, they got these names in there, but again, like I said, they need to bring Earl Thomas back in there because it just looks or somebody like that because it just looks like it is not.
It's not
It's
working.
not in sync. It's not in sync. It's
It's
not
just
working. You
not
got
working.
Calais Campbell in there. You brought these pieces in there, but in the secondary, you do got the two. You do got two all pro corners, but on that back end, it doesn't look good. And like you said, my man looked like he had a career game. He probably did have a career game against Charlotte yesterday. He looked before the game. They said he was on the hot seat that could be benched. Dwayne Haskins. I legit automatically thought he was going to be benched. He playing Baltimore. No way. Baltimore is going to let this man go off. They did the exact opposite of what I thought. My man had like 280 something yards, 2 touchdowns. He was legit shredding y'all. And Terry McLaurin, he was shredding y'all. Like, yeah, I don't think the offense is back on track. I do think that they will get it together because they do have Lamar Jackson, but y'all still got a hard ball in there.
Yep.
You know. Anyway, let's talk about these boys real quick, man. San Francisco, I know you picked them. It was a reverse psychology for me. Of course, I want my team to win. Um, but was you impressed with the win?
Actually, yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't impressed because they played particularly well. I was impressed that they went on the road and they won a game that they could have easily just went in there and rolled over and laid an egg. And it didn't start out particularly well. It didn't start out particularly well. So the fact that they continue to fight, the fact that they continue to just not quit, I'll say yeah, it was in it was a good look because it wasn't where San Francisco was depleted. They did have some guys come back last night, and Kittle looked good last night.
He
So
definitely looked good.
he looked good
Definitely
last
looked
night.
good.
So for the Eagles to go in there and win that game, I'll give them impressed. The performance wasn't great, but the fact that they didn't quit and continue to fight, I'll give them impressed.
Here is why I am impressed. I'm impressed by the win. Like you said, San Francisco, they do have missing pieces, but that offensive line is pretty much intact. Um, their wide receivers, legit. They had Debo come back. Brandon Ayuk looked like a freaking problem out there. George Kittle was back, and people have said it. Nate Mullins runs this offense a little bit better than Jimmy Garoppolo because Nate Mullins is a more timing passer. The running game looked good, but the Eagles was like it was me, you, Taman. We was out there playing. I didn't know, like the offensive line had 3 people that wasn't starting at the beginning of the season, that was starting last night. The wide receivers, man, I legit didn't know who none of the wide receivers are, and I'm a Phillies fan. Like Greg Ward is who I knew. John Hightower was out there, but he's a rookie. Fulcrum, like he made the biggest play of the game.
Yes, he did.
They just picked him up off the practice. I mean, he's been with us, but like he just activated him on the practice squad. Like 85, I was like, man, who the heck is 85? And then I found out it was Richard Rodgers. He was out there. Like Zach Ertz had 5 catches. He had 9 yards. Miles Sanders didn't look good. But what was impressive to me was we had that secondary. We had Jalen Mills at corner. We started the rookie. But what was impressive to me was the front 7 of our look good. The linebackers look good. The corners look good. Defensively, we looked good last night. Defensively, we got turnovers. Even though we had patchwork everywhere on the team, and Carson Wentz just made plays. He just made plays. The one INT he had wasn't on him. But like stats aren't everything. He didn't have a big stat game, but he made plays to the point where they won the game.
Yeah.
That's what was impressive to me.
And that's all that matters now. Is getting dubs because 7 wins might win that division.
7 legit. We are legit leading the division at 1-2-1. We're the number one. We are the playoff start today. We will win the division at 1-2-1, which is crazy. Some other games, then we're gonna I run through them real fast. Then we can wrap it up. But Cardinals didn't look good to me. I know you picked the Panthers. 2 weeks
in a row, man.
You picked the Panthers to win that game, like you said. 2 weeks in a row, the Panthers look good. 2 weeks in a row, the Chargers don't look good. The Saints, are they back on track? I don't know. Legit, I'm gonna say I legit don't know if the Saints are back on track. Because beginning how the game started,
I thought they were getting ready to get ran out of Detroit. They were getting ready to get ran out of Detroit.
Then they looked real good.
But then the Lions became the Lions.
You know what I mean? And then I was like, okay, Detroit might come back. So I don't know if they are legit on back. Here's another thing what I want to say is how we felt about Bill O'Brien is how I'm starting to feel about Matt Patricia.
That's how I'm feeling that way about Matt Patricia.
That's how I'm starting to feel about Matt Patricia. So, take it for what you want. I think he's the next on the hit list. The Dolphins looked good yesterday. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought legit they had a chance to win that game.
They were gonna win too.
I thought they was gonna win that game at Seattle. That game I was impressed with Dolphins. Brian Flores got that team playing real good. I thought the Giants was gonna win their game. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought they legit had a chance to win that game. They had a couple of turnovers. I don't know who the Rams really are, but they beat us. But they had a struggle against the Giants, which is why I think the Giants can go in Dallas and win that game next week. What other games stood out to me? Minnesota, your boys. Minnesota looked real good. They can legit go 13-3, Biff. They can go 13-3.
Mathematically, it's still possible, right?
Mathematically, it's still possible. But the Vikings look good. Justin Jefferson looking real good. He looking like he should have been the number one wide receiver taken. Um, I know CeeDee Lamb balling as well, but Justin Jefferson he is balling. Um, Making them not saying that you replace Stephon Diggs, because Stephon Diggs like the second leading receiver in the NFL right now, but Justin Jefferson looking real good as a rookie right now. And that defense showed up a little bit when they needed to. So I'm gonna close it with this game. Jags look good. I mean, Jags didn't look good. I can't think of some other games that escape me right now. But I'm gonna close it with this game. I left this game thinking that they should legit go college system and have two quarterbacks, and that is the Bears game. They legit should have two quarterbacks. Like Mitchell Trubisky should be the starter. It should be like baseball. You got the starter and you got the closer. That is legit how they should run it in Chicago, bro. Because Nick Foles is the starter. He a different guy.
All I'm gonna say is they proved why we didn't have them in our top 10 power rankings, even though they were undefeated. They proved it. They proved it.
Agreed, bro. Agreed.
Because you look at that game, and the Colts weren't impressive at all.
At all.
And yet they won. They won by 8 in Chicago, and they weren't impressive at all. Phillip Rivers wasn't slinging the ball all over the field. Jonathan Taylor wasn't running the ball all up and down the field, but yet they won 19-11. So.
But like you said, man, I legit think that they should have a two-headed monster in there, and maybe they'll win. If they did it that way, maybe they'll win the championship. Because that defense is nasty. That defense is being wasted. Got the games tonight. I know we still got the bowl prediction. We got Atlanta. We got Green Bay. I know we got the Kansas City game that's going on right now.
6-3 Chiefs up at half.
Ooh, that's a little closer. It's a little closer than I thought. A little closer than I thought. And I'm going to tell you this. If that's a close game,
Pats win that.
Like I say, I'm gonna go with Bill.
I'm going with Bill. I'm going with Bill before I go with Andy.
If that's a close game, I'm gonna go with Bill.
Let's go, Chiefs.
Final thoughts. My final thoughts is I am excited about the next couple of things that we got coming up, man. I want to say this is that consistency and passion is what's going to get your foot in the door, and it's going to open up doors that you never would have thought that you could have had. Like just talking about, we speak on it, man. We've been consistent, passionate about it, and we got these next couple of shows, man, that we got coming up, man, is just reaching out and being consistent with people, and some of the guests that are reaching out to just be on the show. I'm excited about. The show is growing. And that's just because we're consistent and we just passionate about what we're doing, whether it's sports and whether it's culture, whether it's giving back to the community. That's something that we're passionate about, and we're seeing the doors start to open. So I want to say to the people out there, just if you got something that you're passionate about, just be consistent with it, and then those doors will start opening. Even if you don't feel as though that you don't see it coming, just be consistent with it, be passionate about it, and I promise you those doors will open.
My final thought today, it's about last night. I've seen a lot of posts about LeBron walking off the court with 10 seconds left on the clock. And I just feel like we find anything to nitpick with him. We're talking about him walking off the court while they're dribbling the time off the clock. Not in the middle of possession, not they're literally dribbling the time off the clock. He's pissed. They lost a game that he felt as though they should have won. And pardon my French, Jimmy just bust his ass. So he in his feelings. He in his feelings, and he walked off the court with 10 seconds left. It's not that big of a deal, people. It's not that big of a deal. Like we're not. If he wasn't your goat before he did that, he still not gonna be your goat afterwards. So
And if he was your GOAT before he did that,
he's still gonna
he's
be your
still
goat
your GOAT.
afterwards. He walked up the court with 10 seconds left in a game three, up 2-0. He's just mad. He's frustrated. I didn't see anything wrong with it, but people did. I just feel like we find anything to nitpick with LeBron just because it's him. So that's just my thought.
Here's the crazy thing, right? Off what you just said, Rondo, Kyle Kuzma did the same thing, and I ain't hear nothing about them. But because of LeBron, it's magnified. People do it all the time, folks. That's our show for the day. Listen, again, I talked about it. I hyped it up. Wednesday show, 7 o'clock. We are on Spotify. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. Our link tree is in our on our business page. That'll tell you all the platforms that we are on. We got a lot of exciting things coming up. If you have anything you want us to do, anything you want us to talk about socially, sports wise, culturally, music, we do it all. Let us know. Shoot, if you want to talk about hockey, we're not versed in it. Yeah, I mean, but listen, I might do a study on it for you.
I'll do a study on it real quick. Ain't no thing.
Might do a study on it for you. But listen, our show Speak on It, man. We want to speak on whatever it is that you guys want to talk about, whatever the topics is, whatever it is that you're passionate about, whatever it is that you're feeling. We want to talk about it. If you got a business out there that you want to highlight, if you got a kid out there or a student out there that you want to highlight, let us know. We will do it on our show. We have this platform just for those things, just so you guys can speak on it. So you guys have a voice. That's our show for the night. If you have any of those questions, make sure you go to our comments or drop a like or whatever it is. But until next time, y'all, speak on it.
Peace.
Peace.